Let's begin here with tensions between the United States and Iran escalating dramatically overnight. It all started early Sunday when Iranian President Rouhani cautioned President Trump about pursuing hostile policies. Rouhani said, quote, "America should know that peace with Iran is the mother of all peace, and war with Iran is the mother of all wars." Last night, he got a response via tweet, of course.
President Trump warning Rouhani in all caps, never ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer consequences the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be cautious.
Boom, and we're live. Hawaii in the house.
Aloha.
Good to see you.
Nice to
Thanks
see
for
you.
doing this.
Thanks for having me.
What a great place to be a congressperson.
The best.
You're in paradise.
Yeah, it's hard to leave to go to Washington, I tell you what. I do know that when you look at, guys like Jimmy Dore, for example.
Yes.
Jimmy Dore talks about a lot of things that you'll never hear if you flick on the TV, on the cable news channels, and has very interesting conversations. And again, bringing facts and different things to life that people don't otherwise feel like they have access to.
Well, there's way more of that today than there ever has been before.
Exactly. And that's where I see there's opportunity. And because the more people are learning, like, holy crap, this is what you're doing. This is the consequences of those decisions. Because there's a ton of votes that happen every single day in Congress that most people don't know about unless you're really following it closely yourself. Just that in of itself is a job that CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, they're not covering. So really a lot of kind of these alternative sites and voices are coming through that are helping to inform and educate people. Yeah,
the idea of trying to educate politicians on the consequences and what that really means, and the cavalier attitude that you were talking about, like what's a worst example of that? Like when you're talking about cavalier behavior by these people that make these decisions. Like what kind of things have you seen?
Well, I'll speak to something that happened most recently. I think there are probably a number of examples, but just a couple of months ago in the big defense authorization bill that is kind of one of the only must-pass pieces of legislation in Congress every year. There was a 3-page provision that was kind of put in there without really any debate in the committee or anything like that, that would essentially authorize the United States to go to war with Iran. Now, you would think something like that, with that magnitude, would be kind of a big deal. You would want to have hearings. You would want to be a question on strategy, objectives, costs, like all of these different things. That didn't happen. So when this bill came to the floor of the House, where all 435 members of Congress have the ability to vote yes or no, I just put in an amendment that would have deleted those 3 pages from this big thousands-page bill. And basically those provisions said that Congress is authorizing the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Defense to create and implement a strategy to counter Iran. Not just come and, hey, bring us your strategy and let us talk about it and see whether or not we agree and approve. It was giving the power to the Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense to create and implement a strategy to counter Iran. Extremely dangerous and a blank check to essentially start a brand new war that currently has not been declared. I introduced this amendment. I don't know if you want to take a guess on how many people voted for it.
How many?
60.
You're calling for Donald Trump to start a war. The guy who's unfit to be in the office. The guy who's an existential threat to our democracy. You can't have him in commander-in-chief with his finger on the button. Hey, let's have that guy start a war.